Hey, this is Russell, and I work at the video store, the place that we can go to every week when it's movie night. On days like today, when the store is quiet, I get to chat to my friends about the films and the series that we're loving. All right, let's do it. Let's open up the shop.
Did you see that thing yesterday on the TV? It was ready, interesting!
How's it?
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, Graeme looked over at me and he's like, go for it. Yeah. How's it?
How you guys doing?
All right, dude. How are you?
I'm lekker, man.
Good.
Happy Freedom Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy Freedom Day.
Hey.
Yeah.
Good old 94 elections.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, remember that.
Yeah, I actually do.
Graham does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perrin?
I was 3 years old. Yeah.
You were 3.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the 80s? When were you born?
86.
86.
Yeah.
85.
Nice.
One day, P-Dog.
Would you guys
I'll tell you
consider
about the
yourself 90s kids or 80s kids?
No, very much 90s.
Yeah,
90s
same.
kid, yeah.
Obviously. Yeah.
No, it's like I said it when, I don't know when we were talking about it, but like I remember watching the 95 World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
That's
being very
crazy.
conscious of what was at stake and what
Yeah.
was happening.
Yeah, you were 10 then at the time, so you understood
Yeah.
stakes.
I knew what
you
was
know?
involved. Yeah.
But that's crazy. Like, what would you guys regard as like your years, your teenage years for the 90s? Or would you like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
like obviously 85, so you were 5 by the time the 80s ended, right?
Yeah.
And Graeme, you were 4, right? So like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't regard yourself as 80s kids.
No.
but you would
No,
regard
you
yourself as-
seminal in the 90s.
Yeah.
You hit a few different fandoms.
Mm.
I think when you're in about standard 4, like kind of primary school going into high school is your first like little layer
yeah, I got
in
you.
the onion that makes you who you are. And
yeah,
you're like,
your formative years, right?
are you going to be a little more jockey or are you
Yeah.
going to be a little whatever? I discovered guitar and music. Well, that was always in me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was always akin to sort of music, and I was raised in a household that had good music and
Nice.
more guitar-y music.
Yeah.
But handed a guitar and kind of naturally took to it. I was in bands,
Yeah.
some form of band since standard 2.
Got you.
So like when Nirvana rolls around, and not only are they like very cool looking, but they're also very easy to play on guitar.
Yeah.
And you think you're cool because you can play all the Nirvana songs,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
realize like that was part of Nirvana's charm, is that it was easy to play music.
Yeah.
I remember at your wedding, I can't remember if it was your dad or your father-in-law who was mentioning it, because I know you and your wife, obviously your families used to holiday together in the bush, right?
Yeah, when we were little. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I remember her saying that she remembers you as this teenager with like oversized band
Yeah.
t-shirts and
I
stuff.
remember
So
that.
I'm
I remember
picturing
that.
this.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a Smashing Pumpkins t-shirt.
Amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
That shows up in those photos, but they weren't making like little kid-sized versions
Yes,
of those. So
of course.
and you're in that like gangly like
Yeah.
ooh phase. You know,
Yeah.
where one shoulder's like drooped a little lower than the other.
Like for me, I mean, it makes sense that the 90s were your guys' years, because that's when you started becoming teenagers, right?
Yeah.
So like for me, the popular answer for millennials would be the 90s, right? You know,
Yeah.
we had all the cartoons, you know, freaking
Yeah.
Animaniacs, all this stuff, right? But for me, I would probably say 2000s, because that's when I started to formulate who I was, like music-wise, movie-wise, like just who I started becoming, who I am now,
Yeah.
as opposed to the 90s. I mean, we were speaking off air earlier about like bands growing up and stuff, and how like Rage Against the Machine was a formative band for you,
yes.
Russell.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that was like a big part of establishing my taste when I was 9, because my brother was a teenager listening to Rage Against the Machine, and obviously I idolized my big brother. So
Yeah.
like obviously him listening to Rage Against the Machine, I'm like, I've got to listen to that as well.
I was on a quest to also, when I was formalizing who I was, I also wanted to be smart.
Okay.
So like I like the idea of trying to be well read
Yeah.
or feeling like I need to be
Yeah,
well read. Like I had a
yes.
friend in my like circle who was a particularly like gifted, smart, well read dude, and I like that. I wanted to be seen as a smart
Yeah,
person.
100%,
So like
right?
a band like Rage Against the Machine that is like
Yes.
politicized
Yeah.
and speaking about serious
Yeah,
things.
there's about those and, yeah.
That sort of appealed to me.
Yeah.
But then you hit your other onion layer in
Mm-hmm.
Varsity. That's why we do when we interview someone, we have the high school crush
Yeah,
film.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
have the It's Getting
Makes so much
Serious film
sense,
because
yeah.
that's when you are crafting like who you are.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, that Varsity is your other chance to sort of
Yeah.
consume the films, listen to the music that then is going to shape who you are.
Yeah.
Graham, were you the 90s or 2000s?
90s, and the thing is, I was like 13 going 14 in the year 2000.
Okay.
And that's,
yeah.
I feel like when you're getting into your teens, it's very formative.
100%.
I'd
yeah.
done a year of high school
Yeah,
by the
'cause you would
time
be
the
a year-
millennium happened. Yeah.
You'll be a year behind me. So
Yeah.
2000 onwards is kind of
But I was
teenager.
I was prime and ready for the Matrix when it happened.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
jeez! Like I distinctly remember the Matrix. Watching it for the first time at my brother went to NSA at art school, right?
Okay.
And obviously he had all these arty friends, and we grew up in a very arty household. My mom was a drama speech therapist, and my dad was an actual architect. Or interior designer, concept artist. So very
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
arty house, right? So my brother was a very talented artist, and I remember there was a friend of his lived quite close to us, a very Italian family and stuff. We would go to them for lunch sometimes, and one day she's like, "Have you guys seen The Matrix?" And we're like, "No, it looks kind of like a usual action movie and stuff." She's like, "No, I've got the tape. Let's watch it right now." And
Yeah.
it blew up fucking minds.
Just
you know?
before we started working,
Yeah.
I had a buddy come through, Nico,
Okay.
who was my like high school chum.
Yeah.
I was just helping him out with something before you guys arrived. We went on a little weekend family holiday, and he had already seen The Matrix. I hadn't. And this is to like Schoemanskloof, which is like a few hours, I think, east
Yeah.
into Mpumalanga. And he was like, "Let me tell you about it." I was like, "Don't ruin it." He told me beat for beat every part of that movie. And I was like, "I can't stop you from doing this.
Yeah.
I'm in now.
Yeah.
What happens next?"
Yeah.
And so I sort of heard The Matrix on audiobook
Yeah.
before I
This is Russell tells
before I
us.
saw it.
I've actually never seen The Matrix. I only know it through his
yeah.
eyes.
I can't believe Morpheus was black. Welcome to the video store.
Yeah.
Thank you for wandering in. We went on a little sidetrack. We've got ourselves a Graham G-Force Hackney,
Hey.
who is an editor and very much the producer of the show. And we've got ourselves a Perrin P-Dog Hirsch.
Hello.
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 Who
Did you say
is-
Hirsch?
Fish.
Oh, I thought you said Hirsch.
It
I
did
was
sound like
Sorry,
Hirsch.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I might have said it wrong. Fish.
How's it?
Fish.
Yeah.
He's a Danish man.
Yes.
Who is a master of all trades
Yeah.
in the film industry. And my name is Russell. I'm the owner of the Bioscope, which is an independent cinema here in Johannesburg. And we have, taken time out of our day on Freedom Day,
Yeah.
on a public holiday, to talk to you guys about the films and the series that we're loving. And also, catch up and hang as pals.
Cool.
We have had Michael open
Yes.
up in cinemas around the world. This was something myself and Perrin got a chance to watch a little while ago as exhibitors. I've brought Perrin along to my exhibitor screenings because I need someone to bounce things off.
Right.
Because if I were to have gone to Michael on my own, I don't know whether I would have gotten as objective an opinion because there was a lot of pageantry and a lot
Yeah,
of
there was
people
a lot of
very
pageantry.
excited about the
Jeez.
movie.
Right.
And maybe me going, it's cool, but I don't know whether it's Bioscope.
No, it isn't.
And having Perrin alongside me was helpful. I think, we'll get into it, but we both agree it's a big juggernaut of a movie that
Yeah.
perhaps doesn't need the Bioscope.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But also, I'm a little conflicted about that type of movie
yeah,
to be
100%.
screened at the
I know
Bioscope
Graham is,
specifically.
yeah.
And that's not to shit all over the movie itself. It is its own thing, and we'll get into that. I want to talk about Mother Mary,
Cool.
which on the other hand is very much a bioscope movie.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a lacquer, odd piece of art, which people are coming out for, which is great. So both those two opened this past weekend,
Yeah.
so we can chat about that. Graeme, you have finished Invincible.
Season 4.
Okay, so we'll touch on that. And Perrin, in classic Perrin style, has watched a 5-hour Russian documentary that he wants to talk to us about.
5.5 hours.
5.5. That last 30 minutes really
right.
just seals the deal. Okay, but let's start with a little round of Hey, did you guys see?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, who wants to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll go. Hey, did you guys see, literally last night actually, we got a very brief teaser trailer for the sequel to Alien Isolation.
Oh, the video game.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Right? 12 years after the original.
I'm guessing. Wait, is it all platforms like Xbox?
Absolutely
PC?
no idea what's
Okay.
happening with it yet. It was literally like a 30-second teaser.
The game was great.
Yeah, the game was phenomenal.
I saw, obviously, one of my Instagram wormholes has a lot of cinema and film-related accounts in it. And I follow a lot of other cinemas similar to the bioscope because I think we get nice ideas from each other and inspiration from each other. And one of them had a full house of people that said, Happy Alien Day.
Oh, okay.
What could Alien Day be?
I assume the day Alien released in theaters would be
Okay.
my guess.
It's not like a day that they leave or a day that something happens in the movies.
Right.
Apparently, it's
think so.
April 26th.
Why would it be Alien Day?
It's referencing LV-426 Colony Moon from the. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
So what is it? A plot point in the movie?
Yeah, and Aliens, the plot point.
The
in
planet
Aliens,
is LV-426, the
Yeah.
planet that they find the egg on
Yeah,
in the first one.
yeah,
So 426 is the date.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
That
Well,
actually is quite cool.
Yeah.
I like
that is cool, and that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing that I love at the bioscope.
Yes.
I love how after 16 years, I could learn that and go, okay, well, we should screen Alien. Not Aliens, hey? Alien.
Yeah, it would be Alien.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
I mean, both would do because both have. Aliens is set almost entirely on the planet.
Yeah. Aliens is set on the whole planet
Yeah.
because that's where this colony is, and that's where the outbreak happens
Yes.
again.
Okay, 426.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be the day before my... Yeah. Today, Freedom Day, is my dad's birthday.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool! Happy
Yeah.
birthday!
Yeah, every family member, close family member, has a significant birthday.
Oh, cool.
My dad's on Freedom Day. My sister's on Spring Day. My mom is on Guy Fawkes, and
Oh, that's cool.
my wife Leslie is tax year end, the 28th of Feb.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Easy to remember.
yeah. Okay, I've got one.
Cool.
Unless you want to talk more about the
We
show.
kind of know nothing.
But it's a game that's
exciting.
It's a
coming.
video game, yeah.
I'd
a
imagine-
long time after the original. All they're giving away from the trailer is this one's set like on a planet, as opposed to
Okay.
the previous one, which was entirely on a spaceship.
When is it?
Absolutely no idea.
I'd imagine the format lends itself well to gaming
Oh yeah,
Oh, it does. Yeah,
because you can have these little things come at you from all sides, and
it's a survival horror game.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah,
the original's a great game, so
Yeah.
hopefully this one is just as good.
lovely. Hey, did you guys see Warner Brothers announced Clockwork? Do you know about this?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
So it
yeah,
is a
yeah.
subsidiary of Warner Brothers Studios, and it is specifically for lower budget films with innovative marketing campaigns, which means not expensive marketing
Yeah.
campaigns. Sort of akin to an A24.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like Fox, or like Searchlight, or something like
Yeah.
that.
But it's interesting that it's under the big Warner Brothers. And one of the guys they've roped into this is Sean Baker,
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw that
who
as
we
well.
know from Anora, who swept the Oscars, winning more.
Yeah, he won
Then-
4 Oscars.
Yeah, he won 4 Oscars that night personally,
Yeah.
not just his film. And so I think that he set some record for that. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think
anyone else
he's-
has ever won 4 Oscars in one night
Yeah.
for themselves personally, and that's because he's indie as fuck.
Yeah, he
because
edited it as
he
well.
edited it, he wrote it, directed it, and,
Yep.
and everything, and produced it. So he very proudly said, You're not going to find me making a superhero movie.
Yeah.
That's not my path. I want to make beautiful indie films. And it's interesting that he's then part of a studio.
Yeah. Especially a studio that's about to be bought by another studio.
That's-
It's also
Yeah.
interesting
What does
that,
this
that
mean?
yeah, it's interesting that these things get done while and expanded and grown while they are trying to be sold.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also interesting. But
Yeah.
but yeah, look out for Clockwork.
Interesting.
I think A24 in my world as a cinema exhibitor means a lot when these films come through, like a Mother Mary that has got that A24 badge on it, which means that this is a distribution company that has either made movies themselves. They're a studio, effectively. They either make films
more now.
or they buy and distribute other people's films. But we live in this world today in 2026 where curation means everything.
Yeah, 100%.
And A24 can't take everyone's weird bonkers art house film because if they stonkers, it's going to ruin the reputation of A24.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the world I live in, where if I've only got this one cinema room here at the Bioscope, I have to be very selective and careful about what is a Bioscope film. I almost know what is not, but what is always gets challenged.
Yeah.
It's interesting with that as well, though, because I mean, obviously the two tastemakers in terms of like these weird art house movies now is A24 and Neon.
Yeah.
And like Neon, I find have actually offered more, even though A24 are more, they're actually producing films now instead of just distributing. Neon are still kind of just distributing.
Yeah.
I found that Neon, historically, track record, they are more, they offer more freedom for the director. So I remember a few years ago there was a film called Pleasure. I think it's called Pleasure. It's about a girl starting up in the porn industry in LA, and it's by a Swedish filmmaker. And A24 initially had it, but she pulled out, the director, because A24 were like, cool, it's a great movie, but we want to actually make an R-rated cut for audiences, because initially it was NC-17, which is effectively an X rating in today's standards. And she was like, absolutely not. And Neon are like, cool, come to us. We'll give you complete creative control. You can do whatever the fuck you want with this.
They can play off each other.
And
Yeah,
it worked.
Neon famously have
The most
they've already had the rights to a film that has won the Palme d'Or.
Yeah, so they've won the past 4 or 5 in a row.
6.
Yeah.
Jeez,
They've won the last 6.
Parasite, Anora,
It was just an
Titan.
accident. Titan. all
It
of
was
that.
just, incredible run. Holy smokes.
And Everything Everywhere, I think.
No, not everything.
not that.
overall.
That was
So it's
A24.
A24. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
We got another one?
Yeah, sequel to...
You gotta say it, Perrin.
Did you guys see the sequel to the amazing Godzilla -1 from 2023? Yeah, 3 years ago. The sequel, Godzilla -0, is now going to take place in New York City 2 years after the last film with the same cast.
At least in part.
Fucking pumped.
Yeah.
Because
I really hope someone takes that in South Africa, because I would really love to screen that at the Bioscope.
Yeah, -1. I remember I came here like last second, because I remember it was crushing it overseas. Like, it just was a sudden, critics were raving about it, and America, everyone was like, wait, why aren't we having this here right now? Because it's a huge hit in Japan that was made for almost nothing, like 15 million or
an
something.
unexpected hit. And
Yeah.
it's always, that's a very Bioscope film, if someone has to
Such
sort
a
of
great
pick,
movie.
which is a film that is an unexpected hit,
Yeah.
where all I hope is that I have found it in time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
every now and again you feel that and you're like, oh, there's something in the water.
It's so
And
good.
and I'll never forget Blink Twice was one of those movies where I was like, wait, what
such
is
a
this?
banger.
Oh my
So
God,
good.
how did I not see this coming? Shit.
So
and then I
good.
scrambled to get a copy, and it was just such a perfect Bioscope film. Where,
Great movie.
and also, even on a huge scale, Project Hail Mary, despite us gushing about it, no one was prepared for how big it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're like, guys, you could have seen this coming. The blueprint was there. It was an amazing book.
Yeah.
And you got amazing directors making an amazing movie. Like, this is going to be a hit.
And also, like, I think it took people by surprise that they're like, wait, finally a really, really good Godzilla movie. Finally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's also the first Godzilla movie to win an Oscar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And also, the maths isn't necessarily there, because if you minus 0, you are exactly where you were.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know what's happening.
Yeah,
there.
so it's great. I'm very excited for that. So
Yeah.
Okay. Here's hoping we can do it on our big screen. It
Yeah.
might not be the
Definitely.
biggest in town,
yeah.
but it is still bigger than your TV.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go for it.
Hey, did you guys see the film I spoke to Bill Condon about?
Oh yes.
Is actually happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was lucky enough a couple of episodes back to have Oscar-winning director Bill Condon on the show, and it was to promote the film Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yeah.
And what I was perhaps more excited to talk to him about was the fact that he was potentially, because this is the world that these guys live in, they have lots of hands in different pots, especially directors and producers. You're always producing multiple projects, and you kind of hope that one of them sticks and one of them happens. It would be the world's longest list to talk about all the movies that could have happened with directors and that just die. But he was on the cusp of making this film about Hugh Masekela, and specifically around the Graceland album. And this was exciting to talk about. So at the end of our interview, we chatted about this, and I said, "Is it happening?" And he said, "Well, Tabo Moretti."
Yeah, I think so.
Moretti,
Yeah.
I forget exactly what his surname is. He's like he's learning the trumpet. Like I really hope this happens.
Yeah.
But now it's been announced, and it's going to start filming in June.
Yeah, Cynthia Erivo is playing Miriam Makeba.
And
Oh,
Cynthia
yes.
Erivo is
Great.
playing Miriam Makeba.
That's
Thanks,
interesting.
Perrin, for
Oh, shit.
fucking taking my reveal. No, I love it. No, I love it. It just shows it was an exciting enough thing to reveal.
Because I know, it's interesting. Like, there were people. I saw there were like buzz, like murmuring. People were like, Cynthia Erivo's like apparently in Cape Town doing something.
Okay.
Like and for like a secret project or something, and that's when people were like, "Yeah, they reckon she's here for the Miriam Makeba film."
Okay.
And
Which she could very much do.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Guy Pearce is in it as well.
And Guy
Cool.
Pearce plays one of the producers, I think, that put it together. I don't know who's going to be Paul Simon.
so
and how
it's
much of
definitely not
that-
Guy Pearce.
Yeah, no, definitely not him for that.
So I know, as far as I know, it's Guy Pearce. Apparently, he plays like an archbishop or something,
Okay.
and he was like one of the anti-apartheid guys who helped put together this like tour.
Right.
Because obviously during that time, the Graceland tour, apparently
Yes.
Paul Simon was under a lot of scrutiny worldwide because like, why the fuck are you touring in apartheid South Africa?
Yeah.
Like we're not.
It was a
people-
combination of a few things.
yeah.
There was the pressure of the cultural boycott, which
Yeah.
is you shouldn't go to South Africa
Yeah.
and give white South Africans pleasure.
Yeah.
Because of what they're doing to the black people. But also there was this feeling that Paul Simon had kind of almost colonized or had taken African music out of Africa and exploited it in the rest of the
Yeah.
world,
Right.
which is bizarre.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's like, it's also amazing that everyone was upset that someone who played a acoustic guitar played an electric guitar. You know,
Bob
like
Dylan, yeah.
you know these things where
got
everyone's
death
like,
threats.
where everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
So he came to South Africa and he basically workshopped this Graceland album
Yeah.
with
is
incredible
iconic.
South African artists
Oh.
and kind of recorded lots and lots of pieces and bits and pieces and parts and things and jams and all this sorts of stuff, and then left
Yeah.
and put together the most incredible album that revealed to the world just how cool that music was. And it was exciting and it was different. And he launched Ladysmith Black Mambazo, Ray Peary, all these acts. But there was definitely this feeling that he had sort of taken it
Right.
and sort of made it his. So yeah, you can debate that and fight that at the time, but he did what he did, and I don't think it's illegal
Yeah.
to be inspired by another culture's music.
It's so
But at
interesting.
that time, it was that. And then,
Yeah.
so yeah, this movie is going to be called The Road Home, which I think will be about the
That
tour
tour,
of
yeah.
when he came back to
'Cause-
South Africa to play this music to South Africa.
Because it's mostly going to follow Maria Makeba and stuff. Because at that point she was in exile. She had left South Africa to
Yes.
perform elsewhere and stuff. And this is her coming back, and I think almost like the moral decision to come back to do that.
Yeah,
you
and
know
I think
what
Hugh Masekela was the same. There's
Yeah.
a lovely documentary. So at the end of my chat with Bill, I said, "Have you watched the following?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, great.
And there was one called Amandla, which was a journey, like a history of South Africa through song.
Mm.
And they interviewed Hugh Masekela at the time, and he was like, "I'll never forget sitting on a park bench in New York and feeling like I don't have a home, but knowing that like my
So
home is
crazy.
Africa.
Yeah.
It's in the music. It's, you know, the
Yeah.
song in his head, and it's lovely." So yeah,
Nice.
I'm very excited
hopefully, what I tried to do in my interview with him was say the words "the bioscope" as many times as I could, so that I kind of reiterated
Yeah.
just the name of my cinema. So
Yeah.
hopefully, the gods can put us together, and he can perhaps come and visit us
Amazing.
while he's in South Africa. He certainly, I certainly offered it, and he was certainly kind enough to say
I
that
think
would
he
be
will.
lovely.
Cool.
So if he ever were to make his way through Joburg, I'm sure
Yeah, I think
a part of him would remember this.
Yeah, let's hope.
And how special could that be?
Cool.
Any others?
Yeah. Hey, did you guys see we got a teaser trailer for Clayface?
I was
Yes.
literally about to say.
It looks pretty cool.
It looks fucking crazy.
It
I'm
looks
so
very
excited.
body horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got many chums out there with the distributors. One in particular, and whenever we find ourselves in the same room, we always talk about what movies are coming out and whether or not they're right for the bioscope.
Okay.
And he actually said like Clayface, and I was like, I know nothing about it.
Yeah. Pumped for it, man.
Yeah.
It's
But it
written
could
by
be
Mike
interesting.
Flanagan,
Yeah,
who's
written by
a
Mark.
horror. A lot of people are equating him to like he's like our cinema's Stephen King at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause he's
I
also
only know
adapting everything he does.
I only know Flanagan from Life of Chuck,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which is the one movie that is out of his usual. So
Yeah.
that's not really the thing to judge him on.
The-
But I loved that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the director, it's the same director as, I wasn't a big fan of Speak No Evil remake, but he did a movie called Eden Lake, which was fucking ruthless.
Okay.
And who's the director?
I forgot his name. He's a British director. James Watkins is the man. So he is doing it, and yeah, the trailer's very like unsettling. There's that shot
Yeah.
of have you seen the trailer?
I haven't seen it. No,
So
I've seen stills from it.
the main shot is it's like slowly tracking in on this guy who's on a hospital bed, and he's like bandaged up and his eyes are bloodshot and stuff, and he's just staring creepily into the frame while it's like closing in on him. And obviously there's flashes of other. It's a very teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, oh man, I'm very excited to see that, because Clayface is one of the most interesting characters.
So yeah, just tell me about Clayface.
you wanna do it,
this is
Graham,
a
or-
this is
okay.
a comic book
He's
character.
a Batman villain.
yeah.
He's a Batman.
Batman villain. There's a few different versions of Clayface.
Yeah. But the one it seems like they're focusing on is the struggling actor.
The actor, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Hagen.
Yes, yeah.
He's
So-
not the original Clayface,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's a struggling actor who, at least in the comic books, I think he's like an aging actor in the comic books.
Yeah, the one that I know from the animated series was just I think he was a popular movie star at one stage,
Yeah.
and then he had all these roles and stuff, and he was also starting to age and not
Yes.
getting all the roles and stuff. Yeah, carry on.
And I think there's an incident where he like gets his face all like scarred up and stuff, so he
Yeah.
can't get roles. And then somehow someone offers him like this stuff that heals his face,
Yeah,
but it lets him like basically sculpt his face.
to whatever he wants it
Yeah.
to be. Yeah,
And then that eventually spreads out his whole body, so his
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
body is malleable.
Okay, so he uses that to disguise himself.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's the people who are saying, I guess this is not the fun Clayface we're not getting from the Harley Quinn series.
Yeah. The
'Cause
Alan Tudyk one.
Yeah. So the Harley Quinn animated series is really great, actually. It's a fun
Okay.
version. It's a Harley Quinn's life, and her
Mm.
and Poison Ivy are like roomies and stuff like that. And Clayface is this very he's a theatrical actor, and
Yeah.
he's like very over the top, and he's so funny in it. And yeah, we're definitely not getting that, but I'm very interested to see this, because people are saying like, oh, James Gunn's DC is going to be very like goofy and Guardians-y and stuff like that. And this is showing that he was like, I want these filmmakers to do whatever the fuck they want, have fun
Okay.
with it.
So it's a DC
R-rated.
R-rated,
yeah.
under James Gunn.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
hopefully
there's
it's
also,
good.
it's like you're saying, it's unsettling. There's that shot in the trailer. I think he's lying in a bathtub or something.
Yeah.
And he literally just wipes his face off like that.
It's so
The whole face just goes
it's so
up.
gross.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see what happens
Yeah.
with that. When it's
see.
quite soon.
I think it's October.
It's this year, yeah.
Let
Ooh,
me double
Halloween.
check. Yeah, October
Spooky season.
23rd.
So yeah, I should consider it. Hey,
yeah, I think so.
it could be cool.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on it.
Okay, nice. Do you have another one, Peter?
Yeah, I've got one. Hey, did you guys see Park Chan-wook is busy shopping his dream project in Cannes right now
Okay.
for funding? It's a Western, his second English language film. This will be, I think, his fourth English language project in total after two mini-series that he's done. So Park Chan-wook obviously did Old Boy, Decision to Leave, No Other Choice most recently.
Which are very famous Korean films.
Yeah, he is. Him and Bong Joon-ho are like the poster children of the Korean New Wave. Anyways, so he's doing a Western with Austin Butler, Pedro Pascal, Matthew McConaughey, and Tang Wei, who was
McConaughey or McConaughey?
hey. So yeah, them and Tang Wei, who was in Decision to Leave, who is an incredible Chinese actress. It's called The Brigands of Rattle Creek, and it's kind of like a typical, almost like Seven Samurai kind of plot point where it follows like these guys trying to track down these what are these, like, not rustlers, like bad guys in the West,
Like sort of bandits almost.
bandits, track down bandits and
Like
stuff
a gang
that are
of outlaws.
that are terrorizing a town. So it's the whole Seven Samurai thing, Magnificent Seven thing.
It's lovely how there is this beautiful connection between Japanese, or sort of more specifically Asian cinema, and the American Western.
Yeah.
So Seven Samurai obviously came first, which became the Magnificent Seven.
Bugs Life.
An unofficial remake.
Yeah, Bugs Life is
Bugs
also
Life is Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, Magnificent Seven.
Oh,
It's the same story.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Do you know what's crazy? So Akira Kurosawa basically invented the spaghetti western, which spaghetti western is the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you, for a few dollars more, A Fistful of Dollars is a remake of Yojimbo, which is considered the first spaghetti western.
And then, so just
Spaghetti western
brief
means
timeline.
Italians making westerns.
Yes.
Yeah, they used the Italian, that sort of more southern Italian, which is a bit more dry.
Yeah.
They used that as a location because it was cheaper than shooting in America.
Yeah.
And so these westerns took place there, and so they got nicknamed spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
So interesting watching those, because you'll see a lot of Italian films of that era, the 60s, 50s, even 70s, a lot of them are redubbed, even in Italian. So they'll speak it in Italian, but they'll redub it ADR, and in post they'll redub it. But like with for a few dollars more, Fistful of Dollars, which is the first Clint Eastwood spaghetti western with Sergio Leone, you see the whole movie, most of those cast members are Italian or Spanish, and like you can see they're not speaking in English to him, and he's speaking in English, but they'll dub them in English. It's so interesting. But
a good old western.
Yeah.
Western is such an interesting genre because
Great genre.
it has its purposes, and it's got its themes, and it's got these things that are timeless, but it just has these little pockets where at one point it was obviously the most wildly popular genre, and then it
just
dies for many years, and then it kind of comes back.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Japanese remake of Unforgiven?
No, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, because they did these like American remakes of all the Japanese films.
And they were like, let us do it.
Yeah, they did a Japanese remake of
That's
Unforgiven
cool.
with Ken Watanabe.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
When did they do that?
Like 2004 or something.
Okay,
it was a while ago.
Yeah, because Unforgiven was early 90s.
Yeah, 92, I think. It was like the last of like the big westerns.
Great movie.
Yeah,
Jeepers.
phenomenal, dude.
5 Oscars.
Yeah.
I've just thought now I channel a little bit of Western energy with Emmy, my 3-month-old baby, who could go for like a day without, making a nappy.
Yeah.
And then when she does, it's quite explosive. And I caught myself the other day going, "You done shit your britches," and that's now become my like go-to thing about my
You
cute
done
little.
shit your britches. Amazing.
Oh, funny. Okay.
should we
Are
go
there
to
anything
movies?
else?
I got one more. We
Okay.
also got a trailer. Hey, did you guys see? We got a trailer for Coyote versus Acme.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the famously shelved
Yes, the
tax.
the movie that Warner Brothers, one of the movies that Warner Brothers tossed in the bin after it was complete,
Yeah.
is now finally getting a release like 2 years later.
That still makes no sense to me.
What's the name of the guy in it?
Will Forte?
Will Forte was pissed off about it because he was like,
Yeah.
fuck HBO. Like,
This was
it was
gonna
a
be my
tax
thing.
write-off movie. They
Yeah.
did it to do a tax write-off.
Yep.
So, like, I'm glad. Who's it? Ketchup?
Yeah, Ketchup Entertainment. or
Yeah,
something.
so they recently did that.
The Day the Earth Blew Up. It
yes.
was also a Looney Tunes
yeah,
movie.
very interesting movie. Like, yeah, I'm glad they saved it. Apparently, they
Yeah.
paid a shit ton of money to acquire
Yeah.
this, like $90 million or something.
Yeah, I think they basically paid its budget to
Yeah.
acquire it. Yeah,
But it's great. I'm glad movies like that are finding because what was the most recent Dale and Chip movie was fucking great.
the Rescue Rangers movie.
So good.
Fantastic,
with
dude.
Andy Samberg and who
It was the Lonely Island brains
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
that did it.
was Andy Samberg and he speaks like this.
Yes,
He's a comedian.
John Mulaney.
John
yes,
Mulaney.
yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great movie.
It was a
very
good
self-aware.
movie, yeah. And
yeah.
the trailer for this is also very self-aware.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're taking shots at Warner
You
Brothers.
know what it's about, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just worth
So
mentioning this will come to South Africa.
Yes.
I see it
Amazing.
in the release schedule. I want to take it purely as a like political stance to give this movie its
Legs.
legs and
Yeah.
its chance to be seen, because this was famously this movie that no one was ever going to see
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of a tax write-off. I still don't understand.
Mm.
If you've made the thing, why don't you just put it out
Yeah.
on your platforms?
The thinking is that they'll actually make more money. They'll get more money back from it by making it a tax write-off.
By making it a cost, yeah, as opposed to
It's so
something
horrible.
that needs to have a selling price.
Yeah, they're basically working on the assumption that it's not going to make money at the box office.
It just sucks because it's not like it's a wildly uncreative movie. It's a
It's
very
a
creative
great
movie.
idea.
Yeah,
what it's about is, so if you know the Wile E. Coyote
Roadrunner.
cartoons, the Coyote is always using Acme inventions to try and like catch the Roadrunner. This is about him suing Acme for all of the like the failed inventions and stuff that he's
because
bought from
most
them.
often the bomb like won't go off.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
just
the
blow up
anvil
in your
misses
face.
him, or hits him instead. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting,
it's a
yeah.
wonderful idea.
So yeah, Will Forte, HBO made his shit
With
list.
John
after
Cena
that.
as
yeah.
the lawyer.
John Cena's such a great comedic actor.
He's great.
He is.
He's
He's
so
so
sharp.
funny.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
He's fluent in Chinese, in Mandarin.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like
Oh, that's why he recognized them as the owners of
When he-
Taiwan.
yeah. Do you
when
remember
he
that?
bent the knee.
But it's so wild. You know why he learned Mandarin?
No.
So like when WWE, like as part of him like being an ambassador for the sport to try to help the sport grow in that region, he was like, I'm going to learn Mandarin and help
Jeez.
it, and it did. Like
That's
because
crazy.
He's quite a committed dude. He's done more Make-A-Wish visits than anyone else.
yeah, he's a cool
Thousands.
dude, man. He's a flippin' rad dude.
He's
I dig
done-
him.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on.
All right. Should we play
Let's play a little game.
a little game called What Movie Am I? You can play along at home or in the car, or wherever you are. You can
Wherever you find your
wherever you
podcast.
find yourself while you are browsing the shelves listening to us talk, you have to shout out to yourself and for you guys, to us,
Yeah.
"Oh, Captain, my Captain," when you know what movie we are talking about. Oh, this is a bit of a interesting one. I am a cult classic. I only became popular after my DVD release.
Okay.
Oh,
I feature a wide-ranging cast of comedians.
Comedians.
This one, I don't think will. Some of these are so obvious, but
Yeah.
this one isn't. I'm co-written by and star Michael Showalter. I don't even know who that
Okay.
is. Okay, and then the last one, I think we'll give it away. I take place on the last day of summer camp.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Wet Hot American Summer?
It
Yeah.
sure is.
Yeah.
The 2001.
Oh, that makes sense. Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler.
Yeah, it starred
Yeah.
a whole bunch of very famous people. I had missed
They did a miniseries.
I missed the original. Then they made it with all of them years later coming back to the camp. So there's a few that confuse you where you sort of are like, wait, which one came first? And then you look at them and you're like, okay, no, that one definitely came first.
Yeah.
That was made 20 years before.
Yeah.
But there's sequels. There's a whole bunch.
Yo, I nearly jumped in early when you said famous after DVD. I was like, okay, Donnie Darko.
Yeah. So many were.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Shawshank became popular after VHS.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I
Did
don't
you
know.
see that Disney fired their entire physical media team? We spoke about it last week.
But apparently Sony has been handling their stuff for the past 3 years. So it was dead weight, essentially. So nothing too much to worry about, apparently. But it's still cuck. It's horrible.
Yeah. If Perrin were to take you on a date and
Not
take
gonna
you
get that one.
and take you home, you better buckle in for a movie because the majority of his house, by the looks of things, is just
it's
filled with.
embarrassing.
No, it's not embarrassing. It's who you
Yeah,
are.
that's true.
But Perrin does have a partner in life, and Kira hopefully loves him for all the movies that he has on the shelves.
Oh, she hates most of the movies. That's jizz. She's
But
like,
no, you've got a profound amount of physical media, and I think it's interesting to just see how much still gets released and how there are people like Perrin basically keeping that industry afloat.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
All right.
You guys are probably going to get this one very quickly. I'm about a superhero. My plot deals with the multiverse.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. Is it
Spider-Man Across the Universe.
Close.
Into the multiverse.
Into the...
Spider-Verse?
There you
Into
go.
the Spider-Verse.
Stole mine and then I fucking...
I didn't even say it, so sorry.
We actually got the first few images from the next one at CinemaCon.
Yes.
They released some
Yes.
still frames from it.
shit.
And I think
think
they
it's-
showed footage there just for attendees, though.
Okay,
And they almost need to help everybody. It's into,
Across
across,
and beyond.
and now it's beyond.
Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Into, across,
2027,
beyond.
right?
Yeah.
It's like I can't make sense of all the Planet of the Apes. It's like
Yeah, there's like 7 movies before the original, before the new trilogy.
What it's like Dawn of
War
Kingdom of-
It should be War for the Planet of the Apes, not War of the Planet of the Apes. But anyways, that's
Yeah.
the best one. No, this last trilogy is so underrated. Fucking
Yeah,
phenomenal.
those movies, especially the second one.
Holy shit! Oh my god. Anyways, again, I think you
Dawn
guys
is the
will get
second
this.
one.
Yeah, and then War is the last one
Yeah.
with Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, yep.
Okay, cool. I am a drama.
Okay.
Okay, I take place during a hot day in Brooklyn. Okay. This should give it away. My story explores themes of racial tension.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
yeah.
Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing.
That's
go.
it. I was gonna maybe skip to open with the dance sequence to fight the power by Public Enemy. But, So
Other side. Yeah, that side. Let's do another round.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love this game.
It is
So
a good
good.
game.
And what I like about the fact is that there's a finite amount of cards in this box.
yeah.
When we get to all of them, we
Yeah.
must just make up our
Yeah.
own and just keep this game
Hopefully
going.
they release a second edition.
Sure, or
They
like a
should.
little booster pack.
Skip that card because I accidentally saw what it was.
That's why I always turn it around and take from the... I have the back facing towards me, so I take from the
yeah.
other side so I can't
That's
see
how-
the next one.
That's how you guys are. Yeah, okay.
I could have cheated there. I could have been like, I know the answer.
Thank you for
Yeah.
upholding this game. All right. I am based on a novel.
Okay.
My plot involves organized crime.
Doesn't narrow it down.
Oh, these are all so fucking obvious.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Yeah.
The Godfather.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was too obvious.
Yeah. No, yeah. Should we just play the whole episode?
See, I take from that side so I can't see the
Oh,
next
clever.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But you'll appreciate this. There's 2 moments in my life when I've realized how big a horse's head is.
You have to explain.
The first was watching The Godfather, where a
Fucking massive
dismembered
head, yeah.
horse head
Yeah.
is found in the dude's bed, and you're like, my God, that is a big fucking head.
yeah.
And the second was on my second date with my now wife, who is a horsey girl.
Yes.
And on this date, she's like, "Oh, there's a show jumping thing happening, and I thought it'd be nice. We'll go to it." And I was like, okay, cool. Haven't been around horses since.
Yeah, they make me nervous.
Yeah, horses are fucking scary. And like growing up as a family, we went to this, Drakensberg kind of family resort.
Right.
There was a little bit of horses there, but I've had nothing to do with horses until one of them popped their head out the door of the stable on the second date, and I got such a fright. And I was like,
Holy shit!
oh
you
my
are
God.
massive.
And these are show jumping horses.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're bigger. Yeah,
They're fucking huge. And I was like, oh my God, a horse's head is like, horses are huge.
horses are massive, dude.
And their heads are so big.
And the
Pure
problem
muscle.
with them is that they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
really?
No, and Les also says
Incredibly
like
stupid
they can be afraid of their own shadow.
Yeah.
Oh, shame.
And if you're on the back of them, they can buck you. Oh God.
yeah,
Anyway.
They do this. Apparently, horses do a thing where they'll butt onto something and like inhale, and then they get stuck.
I've heard of that.
They
yeah.
literally like suck themselves onto something, and then they get stuck, and you have to like pry them off because they're so
Shame.
stupid.
Yeah.
Cool. I am a comedy.
Okay.
I'm inspired by a parenting book. I didn't actually know that.
Oh
Yes.
no, keep on going. I think
I
know
was
what it is.
adapted into a Broadway musical.
Interesting.
This will probably give it away. My plot focuses on navigating high school cliques. Turned into
Oh,
a
Captain, my Captain, Mean Girls.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Interesting that it was a parenting book
Yeah.
first.
Because
I wonder whether-
initially I was gonna
I wonder whether
say
Tina Fey wrote that, the parenting book.
I have no
I
idea.
don't think so.
I was gonna say I'm gonna take randomly. I was. Oh wait, I don't need to.
No, just take the front.
Yeah, the side. Yeah.
No, other side, side. That's the side I just put
Oh
in.
yeah, you
Yeah,
clever.
I take from the, yeah.
No. Okay, cool. This is easy. All right, I'm a thriller.
What is the one that you said nope to?
What?
What was the card that you dismissed
Oh no, a
so
man
quickly?
called Ove. I don't know if you guys would have got.
No, I've
Okay.
never heard of that.
Okay, I am a thriller and a dark.
Oh,
comedy.
we've done that one before. Sorry, the man called.
Yeah, wasn't it remade as a Tom Hanks movie?
It was the man called
Yeah,
Otto.
yeah.
Just the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a thriller and a dark comedy.
Mhm.
I explore inequalities between social classes, so narrowing it down. No, I don't want to do that.
Is it Asian?
I'm not getting there yet. I
Your
want
Captain, my Captain, is it Parasite?
Fuck yes.
I think we've gotten these ones before, so
Yeah.
I wonder whether we've made our way
Have
through
we gone
this
all the way
this
through?
box. I don't
Could we
think
have
so.
done that already?
No, I think it's just the parents of the world going, I'm going to take from the middle.
I wonder, they must have gotten like shuffled and stuff at
Yeah.
some point.
It's
Yeah.
fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Lekker, guys.
Nice.
Okay, let's talk about Michael.
Go for it.
Let's talk about the fact that when we first brought it up, Graeme was like, I don't want anything to fucking do with this movie.
yeah.
I fall into the camp of people that were a bit freaked out,
Mhm.
as the youth would say, icked by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I find him way too complicated,
Yeah, he's a very weird dude. Jesus.
and so this guy's led a very interesting life.
Yeah.
Passed away long enough for us to potentially be more objective about him,
Mm.
but that won't happen when you make a biopic with the estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
And
basically
so
makes him
that's
a
what this
martyr,
does,
a fucking,
and so it is very bleached.
Jesus, it's so bleached.
About as bleached as his skin became
Yes.
once the credits rolled, because this movie ends like just before shit gets weird.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
they played it about as safe as it could be. I found it interesting to see what parts they got right and wrong. You'll find this interesting, Perrin, because I don't think you necessarily know this, but we are introduced to Bubbles, the
Chimp,
chimp that he
Yes.
took.
One of the weirdest scenes of the year. Fucking bizarre.
Was when Bubbles arrived in the biopic, which famously like didn't happen at that time.
Yeah.
So they took some license and introduced this monkey earlier than he actually did get
I
Bubbles.
just have to interject here. Maybe the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life was when someone on another podcast said what they should do for the Michael Jackson movie is make a movie where Michael Jackson is played by a CGI chimpanzee and his pet chimp Bubbles is played by a CGI Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's lovely.
Shout out Better Man.
Yeah.
One of the best biopics ever.
Yeah, totally.
No, that scene, I audibly laughed in the screening we were in because I was like, I turned to you, I'm like, what the fuck is this scene? Like, it's a weird, like, fucking surreal fever dream sequence where, like, the chimp arrives, and Michael's so excited. He's like, "Come on out, everyone!" The whole family, and everyone's like, "What's happening, Michael? What's going on?" And then he's like, "Look at this monkey! Like, come here, little buddy." And there's this weird, like, Mexican standoff between the monkey, Michael Jackson, and his dad. It's so strange, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this scene? And it's a bad CGI monkey as well. I'm like, oh Jesus, the movie makes me so angry.
So yeah, the movie is about their beginnings. Obviously, they were this family band, the Jackson Five, very much spearheaded by the dad, who really didn't, this estate certainly didn't fucking like him.
Yeah, he's an
he has
arsehole.
long since passed away.
Famously a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But they certainly didn't hold back in portraying him as the main villain.
And that's Coleman Domingo.
Played by Coleman Domingo in what myself and Perrin thought was way too much prosthetic makeup.
Ghastly makeup.
Until
Jesus.
I messaged Perrin. I didn't say anything else. I just sent him a picture of Michael Jackson's dad. And Perrin just goes, wild.
Yeah, because he just
like-
died as well. Yeah.
Well, just the fact that like maybe the makeup wasn't too far off what this dude actually looked like.
Yeah.
But when you look at him in the movie, you're like, this is maybe a bit too much prosthetic makeup. But yeah, he got these kids together and took them out of a small town in America, got them onto the famous record labels that one would, Motown, and all of a sudden they're rich and famous. And then it's the start of Michael starting his own career, and in that, effectively, the story is about his standing on his own 2 feet and kind of breaking the ties,
clutch,
both literally and figuratively breaking the contracts.
Yeah.
And that tie with his dad.
Right.
That's kind of it.
Okay.
And then there's you do get these musical sequences that do reward
very
you.
well done. Yeah.
Very well done. Obviously, so I think what is it? Jafar
Jackson now.
who is the real life nephew of Michael Jackson, got offered this part and got given not too long to show that he was capable of doing this role.
Right.
And obviously focused on the dance sequences because that's how we know this guy.
Yeah.
And obviously that's at the core of it.
Okay.
You could then maybe argue that Jafar nailed those parts convincingly.
Very much so.
So convincingly that when he then needed to act, it was maybe not the best.
Yeah, so
he's not the best actor, but these dance sequences are really good. And I got my foot tapping in that screening, and I was like, this is great music. There's no
the music is
there's no
phenomenal,
question.
dude. Jesus,
And the legacy of Michael Jackson, is in the art that he made.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much more to this. I mean, that childhood, I don't know when it happened or if this is even true, but you hear the story of him being like medically castrated by his family.
There's a lot of
True or not?
weird like
They
myths.
did. There's
and
myths
shit.
and things about how
So
they kept his voice didn't break and
yeah, so
because
like
of shit that they did to him.
the thing with Michael Jackson is like regardless of if you think he did do the things that he's accused of and stuff like that, is that he was a product of a really tragic upbringing.
Yeah.
He was treated like literally a prop by his dad. He was not allowed to be a child. From 5 years old, he was a fucking entertainer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
And his dad forced him to that. And we see that in the film. We see how cruel his dad is. But the problem with the movie, right, is that, look, it's not sanitized and showing what a monster his dad was. The thing is, what's sanitizing about the whole thing is that we are shown everything we already know. We know that his dad was a piece of shit. We know the whole history of how he wanted to break out from it. The only thing I didn't really know about Michael Jackson was how bad the Pepsi commercial burns were on his scalp, which caused him to start wearing wigs and stuff, right? I didn't know the extent of that.
Yeah.
But other than that, the problem with the movie is that, look, entertainment-wise aside, with those music sequences, incredibly well done. Jafar Jackson is incredibly impressive with the prep and skill that he put into it. There were times where it looked like he was Michael Jackson, and I give him that. But everything else just feels like a glorified impersonation. It's
Right.
not a performance because he doesn't have much to work with. And that's not his fault. Like, I think if he was given a little more meat to bite onto, he would have gotten something. And from what we've heard now, the controversies like we want to bring up is that the Michael Jackson estate, there's other stuff that I don't think you've heard. So the Michael Jackson estate, we know this, is that they spent $15 million to do reshoots because now the entire third act was apparently a completely different film.
Yeah.
The entire third act starts to delve into the accusations of the sexual abuse scandals, the grooming scandals and stuff like that. And because of a settlement that happened years ago, this by law or whatever, basically they weren't allowed to portray these incidences in a film.
Yeah, the estate aren't allowed to use in particular the exact case that they used. That particular person, they're not allowed to use their name or their likeness in any capacity.
Because put yourself in the shoes of the parents of this kid that was involved in this. You would get an outcome from your court case, which I think in many cases they just settled, right? It's not like he was exonerated, right? I'm not 100% sure.
Settlements is always a bit iffy.
Yeah. Then you specifically as the parents go, I don't want any movies or imagine Netflix shows.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to bring this back up.
Yeah.
You hear it
To
all the
trigger him.
time with people linked to these famous monsters, rapists and serial killers, like all the people Dahmer was involved with and all of those things. Like they just go, we fucking hate it.
Yeah, we don't want anything
because we
to do
think
with
we're
this,
cool, and it's like the world's forgotten, and then Netflix is like, surprise, motherfucker, and then they're like, oh my god, my life is fucking derailed again.
Yeah.
And so they don't want anything to do with it. So they legally, set that in place that you can't do it.
At the same time, in a lot of those cases, also fuck the parents though, because
100%, yeah.
Oh,
the
totally.
kids that Michael Jackson was having sleepovers with,
Yeah.
they had permission. Like the parents knew about
and
it.
also the thing is, there's an interview with Michael Jackson saying that he doesn't find anything wrong with sharing a bed with a child.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different when you're the parent, know,
totally.
as opposed to some dude who's invited kids over.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like with that incident, right? So they came in, they basically, and these reshoots, you can see it on the screen.
Right.
There are so many fucking bizarre sequences of just him visiting sick children and him being kind to sick strangers. And like there are so many, look, the thing is you want to show the aspect that, and it's famously that Michael Jackson never had a childhood. So he started to showcase that in the way he interacted with people, with fans, with other children, stuff like that. Neverland, he started the Neverland Ranch so he could be a child again, right? But then there are just so many instances. Throughout the movies, he's reading Peter Pan and the Neverland books and stuff. There's no payoff at all. At all. He's just like reading through it, and he's like reading to Bubbles. He's like, this place looks great, doesn't it, Bubbles? And Bubbles is like, yep, love it, right? And then then like also when he's just visiting all these kids, the whole movie, the problem with the movie is that, and this is one thing, Paris Jackson, his daughter, did not want anything to do with the movie because she has come out and said, this movie portrays my dad in a light that is just not true. She knows him to be a completely different person, and she has even said that like fans will love it and they can enjoy it.
Yeah.
She's not telling people don't go watch it. She's like, and she said this is what's interesting. She said that fans who are stuck in that fantasy about who Michael Jackson is, they'll love it, and that's what we're seeing. Is that a lot of people, I don't know if they love the film or they just love the music.
Yeah.
Because that's what the reaction seems to be, is that they're not really getting insight into Michael Jackson. All I know is that he visits children in sick children in hospitals. He buys toys for other kids in the shop. He doesn't like violence or crime, so let's get the Bloods and the Crips together and end crime.
Over a music video.
Yeah.
Maybe a music video will solve the gang warfare of LA. It's really cheesy.
And it's so cheesy, and like it paints him as and Mark Kermode, who's a great film reviewer, he refers to him as Pop Jesus, and he is seen as Pop Jesus in this. And I mean, like, so that third act, right, is completely rewritten, and like I said, you can see it because most of that third act is a concert movie.
Okay.
Nothing happens. He's just performing.
It ends with a performance of Bad, where even in my brain, I was like, oh, this is going on too long.
Yeah.
Right.
And I turned to Perrin and I was like, why are we still watching him? Why are we watching the whole song?
It's entertaining, but it's a concert movie. And then, like, there's this weird card at the end. His story continues. What the fuck does that mean?
It means they want to make a sequel if it does well.
I was about to say, I got a hint from the distributor that there is another one coming.
Jeez.
Because
Which would
of
be
how much
more.
money it's going to make.
Well, hopefully that one can be more interesting.
But that's the
at
thing,
least.
though. If it's going to be anything like this, how the fuck are they going to do that?
Yeah.
Because you can't show any of the controversies, right? If you want to keep on painting Pop Jesus as Pop Jesus, you're going to have to not show any of that shit. Like, you're just going to have to be like, oh, well, you know, the third act, apparently, of the film, like, one of the major, they earmarked major sequences. One of them is he's looking somberly in a mirror and the police arrive. Like, that's a big deal. So, like, it's so Janet Jackson also doesn't want to be involved.
I was about to say, there is
it's
zero mention of Janet Jackson.
Weird.
It's as if she does not exist on this
And she's
planet.
the other
Crazy.
most famous Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, fucking.
But I turned to you at one point in the movie and I was like, where's Janet?
Yeah. And I'm like, isn't that her? And you're like, no, I don't think it is. You're like, okay. And like, even people afterwards are kind of confused. They're like, no, I'm pretty sure Janet Jackson was in that. We're like,
No, not one mention of her.
Jeez.
So, like, it's, look.
Also, can I just say,
Yeah.
those kids, the Paris and the other one, what's the dude's name?
Christian, I think?
No,
Can't remember.
No, yeah, I know who you're talking about, yeah.
They look in no way mixed race.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, yes.
They look like white kids.
Yeah.
But that's, and I saw another interesting
So
article.
I have my doubts.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like the Princess Diana's like riding instructor.
Yeah.
Looks just like Prince Harry. Like fucking ginger.
I've seen
Straight
that.
in.
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
just like, do we need to look into this?
So yeah, like I mean, the interesting thing is after the movie, because it was lots of pageantry. It was a exhibitor screening. They also gave us insight into the marketing rollout that was going to happen. That was like massive, and like afterwards they swarmed to us. So like a few of them were like, "What did you think?" And we're like,
Yeah, I don't know.
"No, it's not our vibe." And they were like, "Oh, really?" And then they could see some of the faults, and they were like, "Yeah, but how the music just pulled me in, it won me over."
Right.
And that's the thing, though. With the Michael Jackson movie, why it's doing so well is that if you are a serious person who wants to get a good story and finds out something new about your favorite music icon or whatever, you're not going to learn anything new. It's all stories you know before. You're not going to get anything desanitized.
One thing kind of vaguely that they touch on, which could have been a little more interesting, is the fact that he was obsessed with changing his figure.
Yeah.
So they do go into the fact that like he wanted plastic surgery, he wanted to change his nose.
He wasn't a fan of his nose.
And he wasn't a fan of that. So then you're like, okay. And you get this tiny little glimpse into his vitiligo, which is that thing. But you don't know how bad and how far it got. And I think the world kind of needs to understand if it was really bad, that was why he did the things that he did. Or just some weird body dysmorphia, which could have been a very interesting thing to go through. Because no one else is really affected by that.
Yeah.
And that could be his own personal trouble that one could go more on. But yeah, interesting.
Because it's such a missed opportunity, because he clearly was a flawed person, but the way that his estate and how his fans are perceiving him to be is he's a flawless, spotless, perfect entity. And a lot of these great biopics break down the mythos of who that person is. The Bob Dylan Complete Unknown was such a good example of I wasn't a huge fan of the biopic. I think they did a really good job in breaking down the myth of who Bob Dylan was. And the interesting thing is that he was the one who okayed it. And they make Bob Dylan look like an absolute arsehole in that movie. And he is. You know, better man. Even though they worked with Robbie Williams in that movie, it's a completely self-deprecating film about who he is. That's how he sees himself, as this chimp that's dancing on the world stage, you know? And those are the biopics you want to see, these interesting, the Weird Al Yankovic movie.
It's perfect,
Weird, the story of the Al Yankovic story is, I think, up there with my top 5 greatest biopic movies ever, because it completely skewers the idea of a biopic.
Yeah.
The whole movie is complete bullshit from beginning to end. There's like maybe two things that are true, where like literally a door-to-door salesman sold him an accordion. That's like the only true thing. Most of that movie is complete nonsense. So like he's dating Madonna.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
He goes and performs for Pablo Escobar. Like, you know, and my favorite part of the whole movie is the whole premise, because obviously he's a
parody artist.
Artist, right? But like, there's a big plot point in it there. Michael Jackson has taken one of his songs and parodied them and turned it into Bad, and he's like furious about it. He's like, "How dare he?" And
So to tie it back to Michael,
Yeah.
at one point when we were watching Bad, I lean over to Perrin and I go, "Isn't this a Weird Al Yankovic song?"
So like, yeah, I think,
It's
and
great.
I love that the song at the end of the Weird Al Yankovic movie is, he's singing, he's literally like, everything totally happened. This is all totally true. Like, all this definitely happened. And I think that's what you want, is that like, you want a biopic that either, and the cool thing about the Weird Al Yankovic movie is that we don't learn anything new about Weird Al Yankovic. Like, it's
he remains
shit he just made up.
He
you know?
remains a myth,
Yeah.
and he still remains a person of comedy
Yeah.
that pokes fun at every aspect of entertainment. So I just think that's the takeaway. Is
Yeah.
like, just always know who you're dealing with
Yeah.
here and how these things are put together.
And where it's coming from.
And where, that's what I mean, where it's
Yeah.
coming from. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere was also interesting, but perhaps a little indulgent. And
Yeah.
that was also at the hands of Springsteen to mold.
Mm.
He wanted you to see him in a particular way, and he
Yeah.
made sure that that came across in the biopic on him.
When you look at something, just a good example, Amadeus, right, is
Oh.
it's people would earmark it as a fictional biography of Mozart, right? But that whole movie is told through the perspective of Salieri, who's jealous of him. Even though that's apparently a fictional element, it's an interesting idea. You know what I mean? You want movies that deliver interesting ideas. And the problem with Michael is, if you're a fan of his music and you don't want the veil to be lifted of who he was or who he could possibly have been, whether they're true or false, you'll love the movie. And that's what's happening. We're seeing that in the box office numbers. People are loving it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the biggest biopic ever, unfortunately. Well, for us, at least, for movie people. But like, it's going to bring people back to the cinemas, which is what we want, obviously. So,
What was the one the really bad critical line from the one dude's criticism
for when we were there?
For Michael, that since came out, and someone said something like really bad.
Oh, this is another thing that you'll find interesting is so Antoine Fuqua directed it. He did Training Day. His track record hasn't been great since, but apparently sources claim, I don't know how true this is, but it could check, is one of his nicknames is Vantoine Fuqua for this film, because apparently when the Michael Jackson estate were on set, it was so unpleasant that he would choose to direct from his van instead.
Jeez.
Because he didn't want to deal with these people. But apparently him and the producer, because of these reshoots, because they like begged them, they got bigger paydays, because they're like, because apparently they were like Antoine Fuqua was done. He was like, I'm done with this bullshit, like it's done now. And they're like, no. And he's like, fuck, fine. So like, it's interesting because apparently Bohemian Rhapsody, the editors saved that from being an absolute shit show. Also, another example, the Queen, the band were behind making that. And they made sure that it wasn't gritty in any shape or form.
Well, their original. We'll end on this, I guess. Is Sacha Baron Cohen was originally going to be Freddie Mercury?
That would be amazing casting.
And he had this conversation with the band where they were like, and our idea is that, and then when they were mapping out the beats of the movie, they were like, and Freddie dies in the middle, and he was like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What is the second half of this movie? And they were like, and the rest of the movie is about the band like carrying on and doing great. And he's like, the movie, like Queen ends when Freddie Mercury dies.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about the rest of the band.
You can carry on playing and celebrating your music and celebrating him, and good to you, but there is no second half of Queen. So you've lost the plot here.
Yeah.
And it just shows that, in the wrong hands, these things can go out of hand. Like Amy Winehouse's one,
Yeah.
the dad was involved, and it's like you're gonna get it. You're gonna get something out of it.
The best version, the best thing to watch for Amy Winehouse is the documentary Amy.
That's
Phenomenal.
good,
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe the Michael Jackson sequel can be about him trying to get the role of Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I heard about. Yes, I forgot about that. Actually, yeah.
Is that what he wanted? Eh?
Yeah, he campaign hard to be Jar Jar
that
Binks.
was his great
He
white
also,
whale.
did you guys know he went to Stan Lee to get permission to play Spider-Man?
What a strange man.
He wanted to play Spider-Man. He also wrote, he went to Warner Brothers and he said, I've written you guys an entire soundtrack of songs which I'll give to you for free if you let me play Willy Wonka in the Tim Burton.
That would have been
The Tim Burton Willy Wonka
wild.
He was alive for that. Hey?
Yeah.
Ironically, Johnny Depp put his
It was very Michael Jackson.
he played
That's
Michael
true.
Jackson.
Yeah.
He channeled him. He said he channeled
Yeah.
him for that role.
But yeah, he went to Warner Brothers like, you don't have to pay me a cent for these songs if you let me play the role. And they were like, how about we just give you a lot of money just for the songs? And he was like, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
In some bizarre alternate universe, Michael
Yes.
Jackson is
He's
the greatest
a
pop
movie
star
star.
and movie star
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so many of his music videos are basically short films.
Well, that's what he mentions in the film. Is
Yeah.
that he starts to he's like, no, I want these. These are my short films.
Yeah.
So like in the Thriller, there's a sequence in Thriller. I mean,
Yeah.
great song, great music video. Is that he starts like kind of directing the music video
Okay.
because he's like, oh, we need to show the feet. You know?
Directed by another cuck bloke,
Yeah. Who directed that?
John Landis.
Oh fuck. Ugh.
Terrible.
What did he have on him?
He killed some people. Not directly,
There's that.
Yeah.
but he's very much responsible for a
responsible, yeah.
helicopter crash on a set that killed 2 children and an actor.
What film was that?
It was the Twilight Zone
Jesus.
short films. And Steven Spielberg never spoke to him again. They were like
Yeah.
actually really good friends, and apparently Steven Spielberg just
We're done,
completely
dude.
cut ties with the dude. Has never spoken to him since.
Jesus. Yeah, he didn't take responsibility for that.
Oh no, not at all.
It was
Yeah.
okay because as the director, you needed to have checked that certain
No,
things were on.
he like
He was pushing for it hard. Like the helicopter pilot was saying, "This is unsafe. We should not
Yeah.
be doing this."
and then like he never took responsibility, as in like, well, things happened.
Yeah.
Like that's what his like response was essentially.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. On the other hand of the cinema complex, screenings of Mother Mary started.
Yeah.
And myself and Perrin walked out of that one going, we like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's arty.
Weird.
It's weird and arty.
It's a two-hander essentially.
It felt like we were watching a really interesting play.
Yeah.
We have Anne Hathaway, who is this Lady Gaga-esque, Taylor Swift-esque superstar,
Right.
who has had something happen and has left the limelight for a while, but comes very vulnerably to her, literally to the door of her ex-collaborator
Yeah.
and artistic collaborator and seeming you understand to be very important friend, to have her design a dress for her comeback show, which sounds very simple on paper, but it is a lot more figurative, lot more artistic, lot more involved in that. It is about the trauma of them, what she went through, this relationship that's almost kind of psychosexual without it being too literally that.
Yeah,
but
got
it's
very
about
much
them
persona from
over the
Bergman.
course of this night, trying to rebuild their relationship and what it means to create art together, what it means to, very, very artistic, but interesting, just interesting and smart and
Yeah.
challenging and figurative and beautiful looking,
It's gorgeous to look
which
at.
is not
Yes.
always the best compliment to a film. You want
Right.
to give it a bit more. So there is the substance to it, and worth your time.
Cool.
Especially for someone wanting to explore something different. I mean, you just literally cannot have two more polar opposite, pieces of cinema
Yeah,
between,
exactly.
Michael Jackson's Michael is, this kind of McDonald's burger that's
It is a
devoid of
McDonald's
any
burger.
nutrients. And Mother Mary is this perhaps pretentious,
Yeah.
but fucking interesting piece of like gastronomy,
Challenging,
Michelin star, serving where you're like,
Yes.
what? Two remarkably different films.
Yeah, it's David Lowery, right?
Yeah.
David Lowery,
Okay.
who I don't really know as well. Perrin, you watched his other stuff.
Yeah, Ghost Story is
kinda hit or miss.
phenomenal. Yeah, Ghost Story is phenomenal. Green Knight I loved. I think Cole hated the
Yeah,
Green
Cole
Knight.
didn't like Green
I
Knight.
love the Green Knight. And I loved, I think it's called The Old Man and the Gun.
Oh, the Robert Redford
Redford's
movie, yeah.
final movie, with Sissy Spacek.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. And
hated his Peter Pan and Wendy
God, that
movie.
was fucking
Oof.
awful.
What was that movie?
It was the Disney remake of Peter Pan,
That
live
came out
action.
like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And what was it called?
Peter Pan and Wendy. But it went straight to streaming for some reason.
Yeah.
Just didn't land it.
Yeah.
Just didn't.
But it
Yeah,
wasn't
maybe
good.
he's the wrong guy to hold
But
on to something
I
like
liked
that.
his Pete's Dragon remake, though.
Yeah, Pete's Dragon was great.
It was
He's
actually
a
pretty
very
good.
interesting filmmaker.
Yeah.
So he has done more commercial.
He's kind of one of those, like, one for you, one for me kind of
Yeah,
movies.
definitely.
He does like
100%,
a big studio film to get
Yeah.
the director's juice to give him some lift to be
Yeah.
able to do the smaller budget movies that he wants to make.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he paid the bills jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mother Mary is definitely one of those that, like, I don't think anyone would read it and go, "Oh my god, we just have to make this."
Okay.
It is one of those that needed to come together, and
Right.
and you needed to experience it for 2 hours to experience it. So yeah, but yeah, we've been screening it and it's been doing pretty well
Nice.
here, which is great. I want to give a film like that a go. It's certainly something nice to see on a big screen, like just quite literally that.
Yeah,
That-
it's
that
very
when-
visually lush.
Yeah, and I've just understood that this kind of deemed art house film, you want to look at it as a piece of art. It literally is that. There are those movies that just present themselves literally as art. And that is where that term, I think, yeah, you own it and it makes sense. And I'm confident enough to go, this is a beautiful piece of art. Just watch it.
Cool.
Sometimes you go to an exhibition and you get a little befuddled by the artist's somewhat pretentious explanation for what you're watching
Right.
or seeing on the walls of an art gallery, and your average normie goes, I don't know whether I get it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too convoluted.
Yeah.
That is this movie. It's playing in that. It's playing in that
Okay.
in that world. But you certainly get enough to appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Should we close on your Invincible?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So
it's now finished.
Yeah.
The season or the show?
Just the season. Season
Okay.
4 is done. They are doing season 5. It's a show that I kind of watch because I want to see where it goes, not necessarily because I enjoyed moment to moment.
Okay.
Because it's gotten very repetitive
Oh, that's
Okay.
a bummer.
in terms of like, there's always going to be a big fight where the main character, where Invincible gets the shit beaten out of him.
Yeah.
And it's just like characters punching each other and heads exploding, and it gets a bit tiresome after a while.
'Cause, Jesus, I remember that first season was like shocking.
Yeah.
Like shit that they would do. I was like, holy shit, they
That
went
like
there.
shock value has
They
worn
went
off.
there, yeah. Like
Oh.
it
Because
sucks.
they're just doing the same thing now. This one involves them, the main character and like the main bad guys are the Viltrumites.
Yeah.
Now this involves them kind of taking the fight to the Viltrumites.
Yeah.
Because they find out that there's like 50 of them left in the whole universe.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So there's very few of them left, but they're like the most powerful beings in the whole universe.
Yeah, they're like Superman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is an animated show
on Amazon, yeah.
on Amazon.
They're
Based on a comic book.
Yeah, they're basically like white supremacists.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
But I think the thing that kind of saves it is the final episode is great.
Okay, cool.
It is really good. It's not, there's like no fighting at all in the final episode. It's
Oh,
kind of
crazy.
about like dealing with the ramifications of everything that's happened. And like the note that it ends on is really good and interesting for where it's going to go next.
Do you, I remember like when their first season ended, like the gap, the wait from season 1 to 2 was like 3 years or
Yeah.
something. And now it's like they've gotten to a pace where they're like, it's now the wait isn't so long.
It's
per
like a
season.
year between seasons
Thank
now,
God,
but
yeah.
the downside of that is the animation's not as good.
Oh, really?
Like there's no possible way for them to keep like that standard of animation while
interesting.
doing it on a
Animation
much
was
faster
so good,
schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, which people complain about all the time, but then people also complain that it took 3 years for season 2. Like you can't have both.
Yeah.
You can't have seasons come out quickly and have it have a really high standard of animation.
But that's why like the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movies are taking so long, is because they're like, this takes time.
Yep.
Like
Interesting.
we want
yeah.
it to be good. You know?
Speaking of shows coming back, Running Point is there's a new season on Netflix. This
I
is
have
Kate.
no idea what that
Yeah,
What is
this
Running
is
Point?
Kate. This is Kate Hudson's TV
Oh,
show.
okay.
Justin Theroux is in it as well.
I love Justin Theroux.
It's cool. It's set in the fictional world of what's effectively the LA Lakers. So they're called the LA Waves.
Okay.
And it's this dynasty family that manage it. She's one of the daughters. The dad who ran the Waves dies. All his kids have different mothers,
Right.
and they all come together to manage this team. It's Mindy Kaling is executive producing
cool.
and writing it.
Right.
And at the time, this was maybe about a year or two ago when we got season 1, we were like, oh, it's a female Ted Lasso.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same thing. It was managed by the one brother who was played by Justin Theroux, who then has to go to rehab, and so she steps in to be the manager of this sort of very male team, male energy. Obviously, this big basketball team, the world of LA, but they definitely looked to Ted Lasso for inspiration of like how you do a buddy comedy with sports,
Right.
where the team has got certain players and members that have very
different
similar kind of
archetypes,
archetypes to Ted Lasso. It's lovable, it's simple. There's a couple of parts that are a bit lame, but like it's cool.
Cool.
And it's in the way in which Ted Lasso bridged the gap between football in the Europe and the UK and brought that to America. This is kind of maybe making women-like basketball more, because you kind of now see it through the eyes of the woman.
Okay.
But it's nice and easy.
Cool.
So yeah, Running Point on Netflix.
All right.
Okay, cool.
There's also a documentary on Noah Kahan. I've always pronounced the surname Kahan,
Yeah.
but in the show they seem to be saying Khan.
Oh, okay.
But he is a superstar breakout kind of folk musician.
It's like exploded over the past like year.
And he's just been this like, it's beautiful music. I mean, listen to the album Stick Season, and track 1, Northern Attitude, is just this like beautiful kind of Pacific Northwest, or he is actually more Vermont. He grew up in the sort of northern, colder America, and this is now his documentary on Netflix, which I find interesting because it's always positioned quite smartly by the powers that be, because it's on the cusp of a new album. And so I just think the economy for musicians timed around Netflix specials is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So we've gotten this documentary, which is going to help us understand him and feel like we know him, and hopefully build a fan base ahead of his next album, which I know is on the way, because the Bioscope almost became the venue for the listening party of the new album.
Cool.
And for whatever reason, the venue changed. But lovely music.
Cool.
Really something for everyone. Just like beautiful, wholesome, inspirational folk. It's got zest. It's lovely.
Yeah, he's exploded over the past like year. Like
Yeah.
I've just seen him everywhere now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and the songs are well made. They don't feel too carbon copy. They feel
for
quite
sure.
genuine. Feels like you kind of get him,
Okay.
and it's just beautiful music.
Nice.
Good.
Okay, we'll end on our 5.5 Russian
cool.
documentary.
Shame,
What
I
is
was
it
gonna save
called?
it for next time. It's a long title, of course. I'll tell you now. Sorry, I want to get it right. So it's on MUBI in South Africa as well. So it's
Okay.
on MUBI, which is the art house streaming service, MUBI.
Yeah, the Thinking Man's Netflix.
Yeah, so it's called My Undesirable Friends Part 1 Last Air in Moscow.
Oh, this is only part 1.
Yeah, so part 2 is called Exile. That's coming out later this year. So It's one of the most important films you'll watch of this century, actually.
So it's presented as a film.
Yeah, so it's split up in two parts on chapters on MUBI. So chapters 1 through 3 is 191 minutes, and then the last two chapters are 2.5. Like,
So it's
over 2 hours.
it's a limited series.
No, but it's originally presented as a 5.5 hour film.
Okay.
Anyways, so what it is about basically one of the it's so independent news media in Russia is dying.
Sure.
So in Russia, if you are not part of the state, you are considered a foreign agent, even though you're a local Russian news organization.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It mostly follows female journalists in Russia, and this is leading up to the war in Ukraine up until it's starting. And it's about how this Rain TV, which is one of the last fucking dying embers of independent actual journalism in Russia that isn't controlled by state media, and it's just about them surviving. And it is so infuriating to watch because these people are fighting so hard to actually deliver the truth, and they're just getting quashed at every turn.
How does this movie get made?
That's the thing that I think it was like smuggled out, like essentially made. So the journalists themselves made the film.
Okay.
So a lot of it is
And
conversations.
they've probably since left Russia.
Yeah. So as far as I know, Rain is now based in Amsterdam,
Okay.
and they are still reporting from there. They on YouTube. They do their stuff that way. But it's so scary to watch how you see these journalists who are have so much integrity and so much passion about, telling the actual truth of what's going on. And then, like, at one point when the war starts, like, it's a shit show. They are like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, they eventually, like, they get told by, like, the government that, like, only news you're allowed to deliver on the war is approved by the Russian government. So, like, okay, so now we've become a propaganda mouthpiece. We can't do that. And then there's a point where one of the journalists, and like she says it, and it's like so heartbreaking to watch, is she's like, whose fault is this? She's like, I think it is actually our fault because we've just been sitting and watching this monster build for 20 years and we've allowed him to do this.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a part in it where these journalists are talking, a lot of them are in their 20s going into their 30s, 40s, whatever. But like one of the journalists, she's like 27, and she's talking about how her mother's generation, like the Gen X kind of generation, is at fault because their mentality is just like, corruption's always been there. That's how it's always going to be. It's always going to be like that. So they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And she says it's interesting compared to her grandmother's generation where they were living under Stalin and all this stuff. And they were like, no, fuck this shit. We should not be living like this.
Yeah.
We defeated fascists. We shouldn't be living under a fucking regime like this.
Yeah.
And it's just so wild watching how you see how the fucking Russian government paints their war in Ukraine as fighting Nazis, even though there is a neo-Nazi element in Ukraine that like has been blown out of proportion by the Russian government. But like it's just so it's an incredible film to watch in real time, how it's going from bad to worse to worsest. And like you're watching this film and you start to realize, like, when do these people actually start to realize, fuck, should I stay and fight or should I actually just fucking leave? Like, because I'm a journalist, I'm literally an enemy of the state at this point, which is horrifying to watch. So it's an important film to watch because at this point in time, when you're looking at what's happening around the world, you look at certain countries who are now censoring their news, right? America's doing it by fucking Skydance buying all media, which is bad because that's going to create censorship, and it's already happening. They've destroyed, I think it's CBS right at the moment. Russia, it's all censored. Fucking Israel, a lot of those news agencies are censored.
Yeah, it's wild how these nations just don't have something like Facebook.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or they don't have Instagram, or they don't, like, it's just the whole thing is blanketed out.
Yeah.
And so they grew up with it. What is the name of this thing again?
It's called My Undesirable Friends. And
My
part
Undesirable
one
Friends.
is called Last Air in Moscow. So part two, I can't wait to see it. It's coming out end of the year. exile. It's them in exile.
We brought it up years ago, the announcement that Jude Law was going to play Putin in The Wizard of Kremlin.
We got a trailer for that.
We got a trailer for it.
Oh,
where all of a sudden you look at him and you're like, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
He's a bit handsome. He's maybe a bit too handsome. But yeah, there's another film coming out, The Wizard of Kremlin, which is going to tell the story of how Putin got put in power.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And how something like that happens.
I'd love to see a Veep. A Kremlin Veep would be amazing.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's a very important film. You don't need to watch it all in one go. Watch it in bits and pieces. They tell it in chapters.
Yeah.
So like when chapter 1 ends, it's like an hour into the movie.
It's more like, I just think of something like that as being an important document.
It is.
Whether
it's
everybody
document.
watches it now or like in the future, but someone would be as best as possible tracking how this all happened.
Yeah.
And just providing another voice that will live on.
There's another great movie, or just to show like journalists and stuff. I'll wrap up now. It's called "Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk." It came out last year, and it's by an Iranian filmmaker who's based in Egypt now, I think. But she basically, the whole film is just video calls with a photojournalist who lives, born and raised in Palestine, who's living in Gaza, and it's just video phone calls between the two of them, and it shows the stark contrast of what's actually happening there, how this woman is just trying her best to just try to live a normal life in most awful circumstances.
Yeah.
And those kinds of films are important because they capture life as it is. You know what I mean?
It's not this
it's not
overly done or overly underdone. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're important documents, like you say.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And thank you for listening thus far.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks,
All right.
guys.
We appreciate you.
Mm.
We'll be back again next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Lekker, guys. Our video store home base is thevideostore.co.za.
Yeah.
That's
And
us.
also just give us a little comment. Tell us what you've been watching, what your returns are.
Yeah.
And if you've got any Hey Did You Guys Sees, you can pop those in all the different places, including the Facebook group. All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Cool.
See you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.